On February 28, 2026, at 01:15 Eastern Time, the United States and Israel launched Operation Epic Fury against Iran. Within hours of the first strike package crossing into Iranian airspace, something happened in the electromagnetic spectrum above the Arabian Sea and the Persian Gulf that no Pentagon press conference has fully explained. More than 1,100 vessels experienced GPS and AIS interference across the Middle East Gulf within a single 24-hour window. Ships appeared on digital maps at airports. They appeared over nuclear power plants. They appeared inside Iranian territory while physically sitting in Omani waters. Windward's maritime AI platform identified at least 35 jamming clusters between February 28th and March 2nd, with two distinct interference patterns across the region. Denial zones, where AIS transmissions disappeared entirely, and injected signal zones, where manipulated signals caused vessels to broadcast incorrect positions, sometimes placing them on land. By March 4th, Windward had confirmed 92 denial zones and 44 injected signal areas across the Persian Gulf. BIMCO's head of maritime security confirmed GPS interference had increased significantly across the region. That electromagnetic chaos is not collateral noise from a kinetic war. It is the war. And the USS Abraham Lincoln, the Nimitz-class carrier operating from the Arabian Sea throughout Operation Epic Fury, is simultaneously a target of that electromagnetic environment and the most sophisticated source of offensive jamming power the United States Navy has ever deployed in a combat theater. The Lincoln's first and most fundamental line of defense is not a jamming pod. It is silence. The Navy's highest level of digital containment, a condition known as River City or MCON, physically severs all non-essential communication channels when activated. In 2026, a carrier is tracked not just by radar, but by the digital exhaust of its crew. Intelligence analysts can triangulate a ship's position simply by observing a cluster of GPS signals moving at 30 knots across a featureless stretch of ocean. 4,500 smartphones, smartwatches, and personal navigation devices all pinging satellite constellations simultaneously create an electromagnetic silhouette of the hull that carries them. With Iran's IRGC having warned of total war, and the Shanghai-based commercial satellite company Misar Vision having already published imagery of the Lincoln's approximate position in the Arabian Sea on January 26th, maintaining positional ambiguity was the carrier's most fundamental defensive requirement. That ambiguity is confirmed by open-source tracking data from before the war. The OSINT account OHD Sinti Ship Tracker reported the carrier transiting the Singapore Strait on January 19th with minimal navigation lights and unstable AIS signals. By January 21st, the Naval News Analysis account confirmed the Lincoln had entered a dark condition, with the last AIS ping recorded off the coast of Sumatra. By January 25th, satellite imagery placed the carrier near the Gulf of Oman, sailing at low speed to reduce its synthetic aperture radar detection profile. A 100,000-ton nuclear-powered warship, making itself electronically invisible, that posture of silence is the baseline from which every other layer of the Lincoln's electronic architecture operates. The offensive electronic warfare architecture the Lincoln brought into the Arabian Sea is physically mounted on the wings and fuselage of its EA-18G Growler jets from VAQ-133, the first and currently only squadron in the United States Navy to operate the AN/ALQ-249 next-generation jammer mid-band pod in a live combat theater. To understand what that means, you need to understand what it is replacing. The AN/ALQ-99 tactical jamming system has been in continuous service since 1972, 54 years. It was designed to defeat Soviet radar networks, and it worked by blasting high-power noise across frequency bands used by enemy air defense radars. Up to 5 ALQ-99 pods can be carried simultaneously on a single Growler, creating what the National Security Journal's analysis published March 2nd described as a flying electromagnetic assault platform capable of generating a total radar blackout over a target area. But the ALQ-99's age has become a confirmed operational liability. Its built-in test equipment fails frequently, meaning crews regularly fly missions with faults they cannot detect. The pods create significant aerodynamic drag, reducing top speed. And critically, the ALQ-99 interferes with the host aircraft's own active electronically scanned array radar. The Growler partially blinds itself while blinding the enemy. The Wikipedia article on the Next Generation Jammer program, drawing from official Navy documentation, confirmed all three limitations directly, noting that poor reliability, interference with the host aircraft's AES radar, and high crew workload drove the Navy's 2008 requirement for replacement. The AN/ALQ-249 is that replacement. The Pentagon's Office of the Director of Test and Evaluation confirmed the core specifications directly. The NGJMB consists of two pods mounted under the EA-18G's wings, containing 8 arrays that radiate over a range of frequencies, adding increased jamming capability at higher power and longer ranges than the ALQ-99, as well as the ability to rapidly update hardware and software to counter rapidly evolving threat capabilities. Where the ALQ-99 uses analog noise generation broadcast through fixed antennas, the NGJMB uses active electronically scanned arrays, the same phased array technology found in the most advanced fighter radars in the world, to generate precisely shaped, electronically steerable jamming beams directed at specific threat radars simultaneously. The NGJMB operates in the mid-band frequency range of approximately 2 to 6 GHz, the frequencies used by the most modern digitally agile air defense radars, including the Bavar 373's Mirage 4 S-band ASA and its HFZ S-band acquisition radar. The legacy ALQ-99 pods on the same aircraft provide simultaneous coverage across the broader spectrum, extending from very low frequency through the high bands, covering older generation radars, communication systems, and data links that Iran operates alongside its most advanced assets. Together, the two systems create full-spectrum electromagnetic attack that a single-generation pod cannot achieve. The NGJMB reached initial operating capability in December 2024 following its first frontline deployment by VAQ-133 aboard the Lincoln against Houthi forces in Yemen, confirmed by the war zone. Captain David Rudder, Program Manager for Airborne Electronic Attack Systems at Naval Air Systems Command, stated the ALQ-249 pods performed as expected, or maybe even a little better than I expected, describing the system as a quantum leap in where we are with airborne electronic attack. VAQ-133 Commanding Officer CMDR Eric Dente called the transition to the new pods pretty seamless. Those assessments were made after the Yemen deployment. The Iran deployment, active since February 28th against a far more sophisticated and layered air defense architecture, is the first live-fire test against an adversary the NGJMB was specifically designed to defeat. The Growler kill chain this architecture enables begins before the first FA-18 or F-35C crosses the Iranian coastline. F-35C aircraft from the Lincoln's carrier Air Wing 9 were confirmed, flying in strike packages from the first day of Operation Epic Fury. The electronic warfare sequencing the national interest confirmed before the operation. The F-35 enters Iranian airspace first, exploiting its low observable profile to build a comprehensive map of every active Iranian air defense radar, what frequency it transmits on, at what power level, and precisely where it is located. That emitter map is shared in real time through Link 16 and the multifunction advanced data link across the entire strike force. The Growler receives that map as it enters the threat environment behind the F-35s. With the emitter map established, the NGJMB's ASA arrays generate precisely steered jamming beams aimed directly at the identified threat radars, not area jamming filling all frequencies with noise, but targeted high-power beams concentrated on specific systems at specific frequencies. 3 networked Growlers, confirmed by the Eurasian Times technical analysis, can generate targeting tracks for hostile radio frequency sources in real time through triangulation, each aircraft measuring the time delay of the same radar emission simultaneously, calculating the transmitter's precise location. That location data feeds directly into the targeting solution for the AGM-88 high-speed anti-radiation missile the Growler carries alongside its jamming pods. The harm homes on the radar's own emission at ranges exceeding 100 kWh, traveling at Mach 4. The Iranian radar commander faces a confirmed tactical dilemma with no clean exit. To see the incoming American aircraft, he must keep his radar transmitting. But every second he transmits, he feeds both the jamming beam and the harm's guidance seeker. If he increases power to burn through jamming, he becomes a brighter missile target. If he activates frequency hopping, the Growler's AN/ALQ-218 wideband receiver and the NGJMB's digital radio frequency memory detect the new frequency within milliseconds and retune before the radar completes its first hop. If he goes silent to survive, he's operationally useless. To understand whether this architecture will prevail against Iran's specific systems, you need to understand what those systems are technically capable of from confirmed independent defense analysis, not Iranian state media claims. The Bavar 373 is not an S-300 clone. That description, which appears repeatedly in Western media, obscures what the system actually is. The Bavar 373 was begun in 2011 after Russia suspended S-300 deliveries under American pressure with a design brief that explicitly required the system not to suffer from the weak points of the S-300. The Bavar 3732 configuration, announced in February 2025 and confirmed by Army Recognition Group's exclusive reporting, consists of 5 separate radar components operating across multiple frequency bands simultaneously. The primary sensor is the Mirage 4 S-band ASA, which can detect targets at ranges up to 450 kilometers and track up to 200 aerial objects simultaneously. The HFZ S-band acquisition radar provides track-while scan capability with a maximum range of 300 kilometers. An X-band engagement radar provides fire control with detection range of 320 km, track capacity of 300 targets, and simultaneous engagement of 6 targets with 12 missiles. A passive ALAM radar, designed to function when active radars are suppressed by jamming, uses aircraft thermal and electromagnetic emissions to maintain tracking without transmitting a detectable signal. And the BAVAR 373-2 introduced fully autonomous TL vehicles, where each launcher truck carries its own integrated radar and fire control system, so that destroying the central command radar does not disable the launchers. The BAVAR 373's confirmed ECCM suite, documented from Iran. Electronics Industries' official Mirage 4 specifications includes burn-through, side lobe blanking, frequency hopping, PRF jitter, PRF staggering, pulse compression, moving target indication, and lowest side lobe antenna design. A confirmed specification for a radar built from the ground up to survive exactly the kind of electronic attack the Lincoln's Growlers deploy. The second layer of Iran's electromagnetic architecture is the Cobra V8, and it is categorically different from the BAVAR 373 in what it is designed to do. Commercial satellite images dated February 20th, 2026, 8 days before Operation Epic Fury began, showed Cobra V8 units positioned alongside BAVAR 373 and S-300 batteries on the outskirts of Tehran, with additional deployments identified in the Bandar Abbas region near the Strait of Hormuz. The Cobra V8 was developed by Iran Electronics Industries under the Ministry of Defense and publicly unveiled in September 2023. It is a mobile truck-based electronic warfare platform with a confirmed disruption radius of up to 250 kilometers, designed not primarily as a jamming system, but as a signals intelligence exploitation platform designed to intercept, catalog, and fingerprint the electromagnetic emissions of specific aircraft. Iran's electronic warfare commander made a specific claim publicly. If an F-35 fighter jet starts operating and monitoring using its radar, it will emit different waves from other F-35 fighter jets. Today, we can identify those waves and determine which F-35 aircraft they belong to. That specific claim has not been confirmed by any Western intelligence assessment and should be understood as an Iranian official assertion. What is confirmed is the deployment of the Cobra V8 to Bandar Abbas 8 days before the war began, telling you that Iranian planners intended to use this conflict to build exactly that kind of electromagnetic intelligence library against American fifth-generation aircraft operating in the region. The GPS and AIS jamming campaign Windward confirmed in the first 72 hours reveals the strategic logic of Iran's electromagnetic offensive through its geographic architecture. A CSIS analysis published March 5th confirmed the Iranians have long used jamming devices, GPS jamming, satellite jamming, GPS spoofing, and these capabilities were actively deployed in the opening phase of Operation Epic Fury. The 92 denial zones and 44 injected signal clusters carry 3 distinct operational objectives. First, commercial disruption, creating enough navigational uncertainty in the Strait of Hormuz that shipping operators and insurance underwriters conclude safe navigation is impossible, reinforcing the economic closure of the strait without physically blocking every vessel. Second, targeting deception, flooding maritime tracking databases with enough false position data that separating genuine vessel contacts from injected ghost positions requires analysis time a carrier's combat information center may not have during a fast-developing threat. Third, carrier positioning uncertainty. If the Lincoln's navigation systems are operating in a GPS environment, Iran has confirmed it can spoof at scale. The carrier's chart tables and data links receive position data that may have been manipulated by the same infrastructure that displaced 1,100 commercial vessels. The National Security Journal's March 2nd analysis published the first confirmed performance data on the NGJMB against Iranian systems directly. 18 EA-18G Growlers, the combined complement of VAQ-133 aboard the Lincoln and VAQ-142 aboard the Ford, engaged 500 air defense targets, with the NSJ reporting total radar blackout achieved. The analysis confirmed the AESA arrays and the NGJMB pods successfully suppressed Chinese-made JY-27A and HQ-9 radars embedded within Iran's air defense network alongside its indigenous BAVAR systems, enabling non-stealth strike packages to penetrate into Iranian airspace. That is the closest thing to an operational verdict on the Growler versus BAVAR matchup that the public record currently contains, from a single publication and attributed accordingly. The most useful operational comparison is the record VAQ-133 built before Operation Epic Fury. According to the Eurasian Times, the Lincoln's Growlers provided suppression of enemy air defenses during Operation Absolute Resolve, the joint U.S.-Colombian operation against Venezuelan forces in January 2026, jamming Venezuelan Buk M2E air defense systems and creating safe corridors for U.S. aircraft to operate without being tracked. That success is an imperfect analogy. Venezuela's Buck M2E operates in a less sophisticated architecture than Iran's Bavar 373 network, which adds passive ALM radar tracking, decentralized autonomous TLs, and an indigenous command and control suite using the FACR command system and Rasul encrypted data link. The Bavar 3732's fully autonomous TL vehicles are the most operationally significant variable. Jamming a single central command node is one electronic attack solution. Jamming 6 independent autonomous TLs scattered across dispersed positions requires 6 simultaneous solutions. An architecture Iran specifically designed after watching American electronic warfare campaigns dismantle Syrian S-300 batteries and Russian Buck systems in Ukraine. The USS Abraham Lincoln is in the Arabian Sea. Its Growlers are airborne, carrying the first combat-proven NGJMB pods in the history of American electronic warfare, configured in a dual-pod loadout with legacy ALQ-99 coverage, filling the spectrum gaps the NGJMB was not designed to cover. Its River City protocols have been engaged since January. Its AIS transponders have been dark since Sumatra. Its confirmed escort vessels, including the USS Frank E. Peterson Jr. and the USS Michael Murphy, maintain the electromagnetic exposure that the carrier refuses to absorb, serving as the strike group's electronic eyes while the carrier navigates in silence. In the electromagnetic spectrum above and around it, a war is being fought in frequencies no human eye can see, between jamming pods built on gallium nitride power amplifiers and AES arrays representing 11 years of post-ALQ-99 American development, and a Bavar 3732 that Iran built over 14 years, specifically because sanctions forced it to build something better than what Russia was willing to sell. The Bavar 373's ECCM suite is confirmed. Its autonomous TELs are confirmed. Its passive radar's ability to track aircraft without transmitting a detectable signal is confirmed. The NGJMB's generational leap in jamming power range and digital agility is confirmed. What is not yet confirmed is which system is winning. The National Security Journal said total radar blackout. The Bavar 373's confirmed designers built the system to survive exactly that. The data on 100 jammed ships, 92 denial zones, and 44 injected signal clusters tells you exactly how hard Iran is fighting to take the electromagnetic spectrum back. The Lincoln controls that spectrum from the Arabian Sea. Whether it keeps it is the open technical question this conflict will answer in live fire for the first time.